Okay, I've got it broadcasting now, but just facing that screen. So if anyone's looking, that's all I can see. So that's fine. At least it's but
you can still participate online and stuff. But take that back. These are all that
oh, where's this?
I don't think so.
No.
Did you?
No.
Well, so I didn't say that, sorry, so it makes sense.
Show the
So it's 7 8.
with this. So we had that up. Right here, can we connect, but we're going to be able to connect this to the wall. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Connected to.
I don't know, somehow we can. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I don't know.
And it's certainly not me.
Oh, yeah, very good.
Hello.
Right, you can check our work.
Can you check our work, please?
All right. So we can't show this. We can only look it up here. If we've got another projector.
Oh,
Yeah, if
Oh,
we've got
there is
another.
another projector there.
Yeah, but Marie's got you got your adapter for the iPad. Where will we put that?
We could put
We'll
it on a table
yeah,
there.
we can get that on there. That'll be the way. That's the spout. What is it? Yeah, so any tweet, like with it's just circulating through, and it'll be up on the screen with the hashtag. So anyone who tweets will just. It's very neat. Yeah. But we need a second projector.
Does someone have to stay here?
No, we'll just connect it up because I'll put it with no going to sleep, so it'll just go itself. Yeah, it's on 400% down.
Hashtag.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah, you've got yours. So if we can get that, just
You've
put
got
that on
a
there.
case where you don't have a
But we need elbows.
Yeah, that's
There's an extension for it. Oh, for the yeah, that's what. Yeah, I've got I've only got stuff. You got it? So that's what I did. I've lost mine. But I actually I only got a 30 one. Yeah. So that's just fine. I'll put that back in my bag so I don't lose it. Now how are we going to get that back to you? Bob? Yeah. 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 Oh, you live in more. Okay. We need more help. Yeah, but we're, I know there is
Source
source, yeah, source. Because it says that it's displayed on the server. Well, it's saying that it's not a source, so it must be.
That one.
You just come over and take a, coffee.
Yeah, downstairs. How did you get
I'm gonna put that on.
It's just.
The information.
Oh, right, okay. No, it's all right.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? Yeah. Oh, yes.
I've got a
Oh, right,
You can put it on. There is another one here. Probably snap off the bottom. That'd be right. Okay, so
It's good for people to see because then they'll see
The geography, yes.
excuse me, people over there, you see this? What do you want me to do?
time.
Yeah.
Splash. Alrighty. Well, good. That's it.
Well, not really. I mean,
$2.49 invested in that. Huh? Huh? No?
It's a bit of a jump away from ancient
What's the diagnosis? What's something?
That's right. There's no real guidance at all.
Yeah.
You need my phone in? So basically, the next slide is I'm going to promote the next sort of Asia ones, and then that link up there is actually going to the teachment site, and then I'm just going to the standard.
Sorry, just before I forget, can you remind me to adapt to my iPad?
Where do you want? Where do you want to go?
You're asking for more.
Crystal's going to talk with Kathy History, National History, no, not Kathy, with the National History Journal. She's going to talk some with you.
I've got a few things. So when you're talking, if you want to, have you seen that? You might want to talk from this about the theme.
Kathy's going to talk about that.
Oh, Kathy, you can talk about that.
What
She
is
has
that?
some different ways
Oh,
of
okay.
presenting it.
That's fine. All good.
Sorry.
Yeah. Are you ready for
Yeah, I think I've got it started filming already.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I've broadcast it. But
So
how do we do
with
with?
with
I've moved
Simon.
it so it's just showing that. It's already started because I put. All right. No, we've got no viewers.
Okay.
I don't mind.
It's recorded.
It's recorded.
Okay. So,
I've tweeted the link.
so when it finishes,
Yeah, I tested it on Saturday. I did a public broadcast, and then it just says create this URL, and then it creates it. Yeah, so it's
brilliant,
easy.
yeah.
But I've just got it filming, just
yeah, and then
So
you
we
can
don't forget it.
upload it. It just automatically
yeah.
will
Can I
upload.
edit the YouTube so it gets rid of all this bit at the beginning?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you can, but I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't really matter. So the only thing I don't know is when we switch across to Simon.
You can screen share with Simon. So
No,
let-
no, he's not going to be here. We're going to just show his video.
Yeah, so you hit,
Oh,
go
what
back in there.
What have we done?
No, that's okay. You have it hiding somewhere.
What did I do? I didn't turn it off.
No, it must be another. No.
No. Where is it? It's live. Start.
You had it.
I had it going.
It's a new one now.
Is it there?
Yeah, I think there are two of them. I think so.
Jordan. No, I wanted
So
no.
the
I started. Or,
done.
but this, like, this, how do we get?
So you would
This.
have this. You would
Yeah.
open this
Yeah.
in a different browser
Yeah.
and share
Yeah.
from one of the screen share. So what you're doing is you'll be screen sharing your.
Okay. But okay. So I couldn't get it to work. Probably in Firefox though. That's the trouble. So I might try it in Safari.
Yeah.
No. It's hearing us. What are we doing now? Ooh.
Yeah, this will take 4 How are we going?
I don't know what I'm doing now. Where has it gone?
I think you.
I've got rid of it
Is
somehow.
it still live? Is it
Dunno.
still live?
Don't know.
No, it's still, just
Yeah.
check with her if it's still live.
Yeah,
Because he's just closed it.
yeah, I've closed it down by accident. Click on no, yeah, the Google.
I think it accidentally.
I wiped it
So I
out.
just got a tweet saying, yep,
Yeah,
See
it
it.
was live.
Yeah, but then I clicked on the wrong thing.
alright, so what do you want me to do?
Okay,
Just
you're
check
in a
with
video
her if-
call. Hang on.
No, that's video calls.
Yeah, but
Okay, yeah,
Look.
that might be it. Yeah, just join. Take me there. Just go there.
okay,
Yeah, that's it.
stop broadcast.
No, that's it.
One
That's
viewer,
all.
that must be her.
That
Yeah,
must be her.
yeah, okay. So we've got it back. All right. All right.
And when we're talking, can you just make sure that you turn it round to,
Yeah,
because if the person's speaking, aren't they going to be here?
yeah,
Or there? Or
yeah.
where?
So we'll
Or
put
the, oh, the screen, yeah, that is better than
And they can stand here.
Yeah, they can stand there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Have you got a clicker?
No, yes, it's got a clicker.
If you've got a clicker, they can pretty much
Yeah,
manage it.
yeah. And this is mine.
Oh, you wanted to know how to do this?
Yeah,
Isn't it?
yeah.
Okay. So all you have to do is have it open in another browser.
Yeah, which I've just cut and pasted in Safari. Yeah, it's
Okay,
working in Safari.
fantastic.
Yeah,
So all you do is you've got, yep, and alongside you've got screen share,
which is,
the second one.
yeah,
Just click on that.
yeah.
And it'll allow you to
Oh,
pick
okay.
which one.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and then you will say share, and then you'll say stop sharing. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Cool. Is your volume and everything up? Yep.
Yeah.
All good.
So, one viewer, we've attracted one.
1 equals 100.
All right. All right. So that's all good.
I just want to test this. So if I stand here and I do that,
Yep.
that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. That's the one thing I've got. I've got one closed. Sit up a bit.
Yes.
No, you know what?
That would be really good because where we struggle is being able to find it back to our resources. Provide us with some information. So,
Oh, I'm Karen. Who's coming.
Yeah, just got the tracking.
Okay, we're just about to get underway. Those of you, my name's Brad Snell. I'm the Secretary of the History Teachers Association. Those of you who tweet, you'll see up on the screen there, this is my newest purchase on the world of the iPad, the Spout it's called, $2.49. It gets it to go really nicely like this. I'll hand you over to Marie and Bhavni, who are the Teach Me gurus, who will give a bit of the introduction.
Yeah. Okay, before we get started, I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which we meet, the Whadjuk people, and acknowledge their presence in our land. I've also, while I'm doing that, would like to show you this very quick snapshot, some resources for doing that for the Australian curriculum. So everybody can acknowledge the traditional owners. When you have a gathering, you need a welcome. If you do a welcome to country, then you need an Aboriginal person from that region and where you are. So that's often a misconception as well. So yes, you can acknowledge away as you do. So what I've got here to show you is a website of websites that will give you some resources to do that in your classroom in a history, humanities context. So I've collected a series of websites. There's hundreds here. That starts with the Australian curriculum links that will tell you what part of the Australian curriculum you're doing for that cross-curriculum priority. Also, we've developed a resource with the SWALS, which is the Southwest Aboriginal Land and Sea Council, which are the Noongar people. And what we did was they've got this fabulous resource website, but they didn't have an education link. So the consultants at ASWA, myself and the English consultant, Pat Kershaw, we got together with the Aboriginal leaders of this group, and we compiled, according to the cross-curriculum priority, culture, country and place and people. We have gone through every history, English and geography content descriptor, and wherever there was mention of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander, we've looked for Noongar links to that. So all of those are on PDF. For instance, this is the 7 to 10 for those history teachers in the room who teach history. Oh, can I open this? let's just accept that it's a PDF. There we go. These are all A3 documents which you can then download and use with your staff. And like I said, every content descriptor, it's going a little bit slow. There we go. So basically this is year 7. So when you've got a content descriptor there on the left-hand side, then the elaborations and the resources are your Noongar links. So it brings it down to a local focus. So there's one of those documents for pre-primary to year 2, year 3 to 6, and year 7 to 10 in history, geography, and English. So take that back to your school, and that's a useful resource. So also on this site, you've got lots of other like Noel Pearson's speeches, the Splash resources. So basically, as I said, it's a website, old websites, particularly on that cross-curriculum priority. Okay, so that's one little resource that you've picked up today. There will be many more, I'm sure. Okay, we welcome today all of you. Teachmeets were started, and I'll let Bhavneet, hand over to the Bhavneet, the starter of the WA Teachmeet, before I launch into what we're doing today.
Lovely. Welcome to everyone. It's a real pleasure to have you all here tonight, and it's probably our 40th or something Teachmeet. This we only started in 2013, and as you all become more and more familiar with them, I'm sure you'll run them in your own areas as well. The origin was just, we read lots of tweets about Teachmeets happening over East and overseas, etc. And a few of us whinged on Twitter and said, oh, nothing ever happens in WA. And then, of course, you go, you know, be the change you want to see in the world. So a few of us got together in a pub. We tweeted out who wants to have a drink and start Teachmeets in WA. And I didn't know anybody who actually joined me. I was actually thinking I'll probably be sitting by myself on Beaufort Street at bar 5 by myself at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the morning. But luckily I had quite a few people rock up, and some of them will be here tonight. They're just running late. And some of them have gone on to other things, but, you know, they weave in and out of Teachmeets. And similarly, I've just got an appointment with my son this evening. I'll be escaping as well. The Teachmeets are yours. You know, it costs nothing, but the sharing that happens is incredible. The connections that you make, the professional learning networks that you build, they last a lifetime. And I think you feel richer from coming to these things because of the people that you meet. That you've not been forced to attend this. You're here because you want to be here. You're not sitting at a staff meeting, oh, another staff meeting and another thing thrown at me. So it's a really exciting thing to see that so many of you actually have taken the time to come out and be here tonight. And please take it back to your staff rooms. Do it. Have a Teachmeet in your staff room. They're only 5 to 8 minute sessions. Anyone can start. I mean, it's often hard to stop people from talking.
Like now.
Yeah, exactly. So please attend as many as you can. Spread the love. And I'm going to try and weave my way out of here and enjoy today.
And Teachmeet WA is on Facebook. There's a Facebook group page, and it's a closed group. So if you want to come on, we'll let you in. You're a teacher. We'll let you join that. Also on Twitter, and there's a website, so we'll give you all where it is next.
I do want to thank.
Yeah, one thing. Yeah. Thank you. Yep, we want to thank our hosts. Lots of people contributed to today, and today is an example of a larger Teachmeet. And the average Teachmeet is in a classroom with 5 or 6 presenters, and it's local. So this is more of a bigger one. This is a focus on history. A lot of the Teachmeets don't necessarily have a focus. So we'd like to thank our hosts, the State Library of WA today, for hosting us here, because it is a requirement that Teachmeets are free. So they've hosted us. They've put on the tea and coffee. So we'd like to acknowledge that as well. We also have, because Teachmeet now has been going for a couple of years, as Bhavneet said, presenters tonight. We have presenters from each of the 3 sectors. So I think that's pretty amazing that we have independent government and Catholic representation in our speakers and in our audience. So again, that's what Teachmeet's about. It's about bringing you all together. And the only way that Teachmeet, you won't get a piece of paper on your staff room table. Teachmeet, you need to be a connected teacher. So the username for Teachmeet is WAPLN, which is WA Professional Learning Network. So to be like that, right there, WAPLN. So if you want to be part of this professional learning network, you need to be connected. 1 minute to go and I'm getting the signal already. So we're also supported by the History Teachers Association and the National History Challenge, which we'll find out about that later. Okay, I just want to promote a couple of other teach meets that are coming up in the future with the focus on Asia. We've already had one at the Hyogo Centre. There's 2 more coming up. The one at the John Curtin Centre is a focus on English, an English text with an Asian focus. And then we have one not specifically for language teachers, but just how Asian languages can be incorporated into the curriculum. So those 2 teach meets are coming up, so keep an eye out for those. Okay, without further ado, we're going to start the program. But you are at a professional learning event. So to keep track of your standards, did you know that there's an app? AITS all have an app that you can put on your phone or your iPad and keep track. So today, the sessions that you're going to be hearing today have a direct link to these standards. So you might just want to write that or pick those numbers down because that you are coming in your own time, you're attending professional learning, and these are your standards that you're ticking today. So you get the next, I'll just leave that up there while you the next first speaker comes up today. I can flip that back in the break if you haven't had time for that. Okay, today we'd like to welcome the State Library, who are having the first presentation on a new app that they have. Wi-Fi? For presenters, do you have a key?
Oh, no, anybody.
Anybody? No, because the free Wi-Fi is out in the library.
So I got a tweet from the hallway, that's so cool.
No, we have it. See you, thanks, Bradley.
Oh, thanks.
If we give everybody that code, it slows it down to the 9. So apologies for that. All right. Sorry, need to get rid of this. And we're also trying out Google Hangout. So this meeting is being broadcast live. So we'll actually might get you to stand there. Okay. So that you are on, and if you need to move your, yeah, okay. And then we'll just get your slides up here. Whoops, close all these down, and here we go.
Okay, thank you. I'm not a teacher, so hopefully I'll project loudly enough. If you can't hear me, please let me know. My name's Deborah Jones and I'm the Acting Manager Data and Discovery at the State Library, and I've also been the project manager for this project here. And I'm going to give you a really brief glimpse into this new app that we've been working on called the Juniper Collection app. I was really hoping to give you a bit more of a demo, but as with any technology projects, it's not going quite as quickly as I would have hoped. Through the State Library Foundation, we've been fortunate enough to get some funding from BHP to digitise and provide access to a rare West Australian children's book collection. And to do that, we're doing it through a mobile app, which is something we haven't done before. It's the first time we've developed an app, so it's very much a first step in transforming the way we curate and provide access to our collection. The collection that was identified for this project includes the original artwork produced by prominent West Australian artist Robert Juniper for a children's book called Mason Judy. And this is Mason Judy here, which was written by author Trevor Todd. And that's just one of the artwork from the book. Mason Judy's story is basically about an 8-year-old boy who's lonely, unhappy. When his family moves to a new suburb, he finds a magic stone which transports him to another time and a place, and there he meets the guardian of the stone who takes him on a journey to return the stone to its traditional dwelling place. And as with any kid's story, along the way he encounters many trials which test his strength of character. The book was written in 1975 by Trevor Todd, so it's probably older than a lot of people in this room, and it was part of a creative writing class that he took. He gave his friends copies of the books as a typed manuscript for Christmas, and one of his friends gave it to Robert Juniper, who offered to illustrate it. And Juniper created about 30 paintings and sketches for the book, and it was eventually published in 1977. State Library was fortunate to acquire the artworks, again with the assistance of the foundation, and they're now part of a larger collection of original artworks from children's books, the Peter Williams collection, which are held at the State Library. And this includes illustrations by authors such as Sean Tan and May Gibbs. The Juniper paintings have now all been digitised, and along with the Mason Judy story, which was out of print. So it's a great benefit for us. The story itself references a number of Aboriginal legends and stories and incorporates various language and cultural groups. And you can see, when you're going through the book, you can see how that's influenced the paintings and the writing. But it's very much a white person's perspective and their understanding of Aboriginal issues in history. And the story was also written at a time when there was a lot of social change and activity in Australia, and perhaps not a lot of understanding of the issues affecting Indigenous Australians. So this is just a sample of what you'll see with the app. What we've tried to do is provide an experience for the user so they can explore both the story and the paintings, but through a supporting education program, learn more and explore about the social environment and the history of the time. Or you can just use the app to look at the beautiful paintings. As you can see, there's three main components to the story: explore the story, explore the paintings, and explore more. Through Explore the Story, users can read the story of Mason Judy, and they can flip through the pages at their own time, or they can actually listen to it being read by the author, Trevor Todd. The book's laid out the same as the original printed version, but the digitisation of the paintings actually, they look a lot richer and more vibrant than the original printed version. Well, that's just my opinion, I do. In Explore the Paintings, the users have the option to scroll through and look at any of the paintings in more depth and in more detail. And there's also the option to read more about each painting. This includes a Did You Know section, so that's often facts about the story or the art, or a historical or factual tie-in. There's curators' comments. We engaged an Indigenous curator to interpret the Mason Judy collection and bring her own perspective to and understanding to the story in the paintings. And there's also, for most of the painting, there's a link to other related material from the State Library collection. Sometimes that's photos that sort of might be sort of similar to the painting, or it's one occasion we've got audio of birdsong in our collection, which sort of ties in with this one, for example. And there's also the option to zoom in on the paintings and sort of look at them in more detail. And the last section, Explore More, offers a background to this Mason Judy story and the paintings, and gives more information about the app and the Juniper project. And it'll also provide that link back to the education program that's been developed around the app. That program itself will expand on the Did You Knows. It'll provide discussion points, facts, information and activities. They're linked to the Australian curriculum and include visual arts, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories and cultures, sustainability, geography, English, maths, technologies, and so I'm told dance. And I'm not quite sure how that's going to tie in, but that's what my education officers told us. Once the development of the app's been complete, we'll be looking at promoting it in schools and within the library through our own education program. We're hoping to wrap up the development of the app this month. Initially, it'll be available as an iOS app, but it's also being developed for Android. It's been developed just for tablets because of the size and the detail of the paintings, and it will, of course, be free. So, if you'd like any more information about the app or the education program, or how you can incorporate that into your classroom, please feel free to contact me. And hopefully I can help you out. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I applaud your...
Sorry, I'll just give a brief introduction.
We were planning for Simon, those of you with history teachers conference, you might have saw heard Simon McKenzie. He's a connected teacher. He's an intriguing fellow, really, because he was in Queensland. He come to Tasmania. He's been a teacher for a long time. He's even older than me, so he's very old. But he's a real jet on stuff to do with technology. And his real specialty is ancient history.
I'm just going to get the screen up so we can see.
Oh yeah, you can have a look at his blog.
We need to change this.
Anyway, he came over here and gave a very well-received keynote lecture at the History Teachers Conference back in March, and we were planning to have him log in by Skype, but he's been promoted. He's moved to South Australia. He's been promoted to his new job, and what he's done is he's done a voiceover or a presentation on a thing called Adobe Voice, but it's not actually about Adobe Voice. It's about another thing that he's a guru about, which is Haiku Deck. And he'll explain to you. Haiku Deck is a kind of a very good, simple way to make PowerPoints that aren't boring, I suppose you could call it. But I'll put Simon up. So we did say he was going to try and link it by Skype, but this is the best we can do. We've got it pre-recorded talking, especially for you.
Do you want it? This on there?
No, it's fine.
No, but we can't see it on there. Remember you
Oh
can't
yeah,
put
yeah.
it-
Sorry, yeah. Just switch it across. Sorry.
the history teachers.
Yeah, I forgot.
IT teachers.
No, we. Oh,
Yeah. No, you need the.
I need my adapter. Sorry,
Had it all.
I had it all and I put
all
it
ready
away.
to go and you put it away.
Yeah,
Right?
sorry.
Okay.
Get the right
Adapter.
adapter. It's the trouble with switching between Macs and PCs. You've got to have the right stuff. No, the sound. We just have to. Yep. You just have to. It will come up. Okay. We've got some issue with the sound with the HDMI cord, so it's loud enough. We think that you can hear it just through the speaker. So hopefully you can hear it.
To attend the best possible professional development. By
Right. We'll go right from
good
the
afternoon, everyone. I applaud your decision to attend the best possible professional development by teachers for teachers. I had originally planned to appear at this Teach Meet via Skype, but now I'm locked away in a school management team meeting. Despite that, here I am now via Adobe Voice instead. My name is Simon McKenzie, and today I want to introduce you to the world of Haiku Deck. For those of you who I met at the HTAWA conference in March, hello again. I do love a good title, and I was delighted to be officially appointed as Haiku Deck's first international guru, although in the end I would have preferred to have been named a Jedi. Haiku Deck is a visual-centric presentation app which was founded upon a simple maxim of show, don't tell. The app limits the amount of text per slide and effectively puts an end to death by PowerPoint. Although it began as an iPad-only app, Haiku Deck is now available in all formats. Your gallery of completed decks is seamlessly synced across all of your devices. There is also a wide range of sharing options, including Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and Google+. So, what are the 3 key advantages? As a teacher, you can quickly and easily create a deck in a matter of minutes. How? Haiku Deck finds copyright-free images to match the text that you enter. And yes, you can upload your own images if you prefer. Advantage number 2, Haiku Deck is simple enough for even very young students to use. In my opinion, it is simply a must-have app in all schools. And a third advantage, the simple fact that Haiku Deck opens up limitless possibilities. Create a record of an excursion, tell a digital story, build a gallery of student art, stimulate creative writing, or demonstrate student learning. Haiku Deck now allows you to include dot point lists and graphs. Oh, and best of all, it's totally free unless you wish to purchase a premium image, something that I have never done. Given the limited time today, I can't show you how easy it is to create a deck, but you will find a number of tutorials on YouTube and Haiku Deck's own blog. Or, if you prefer, you could tap into my presentation from EduTech 2014, Death to PowerPoint, which, incidentally, the organisers insisted I had to present as a PowerPoint. Now, before I sign off, in the next few months, you should look out for Zuru, the next tool from the team at Haiku Deck. You can pay now to become a charter member of Zuru ahead of its release. If Haiku Deck is free, why would you pay for Zuru? It's simple. All you will need to do is upload a simple outline or an old PowerPoint, and Zuru, using artificial intelligence, will build your presentation in a matter of seconds. Well, that's about it for now. Why not join the Haiku Deck revolution and look out for my appointment as a Zuru guru, because you just know that I want that title too.
Okay. Okay. Right. So, for example, last year or the year before, when I taught the little year 8s about the about Christchurch earthquake, right? All you need to do is go into Haiku Deck, type in Christchurch earthquake, and it gets a whole series of pictures up that are free from the Wiki Commons, and you just write the words on it, and it takes just a few minutes. You can make a really nice PowerPoint, because that's one of the things when you make a keynote or PowerPoints, it takes ages to find the right pictures, but Haiku Deck is really good for those who have done it. Just while I've got the floor, you'll see I've switched because despite the spout, it was only showing the people and the pictures and stuff. There's also TweetDeck for those of you who, it works on various formats. It basically collates tweets on a particular hashtag as well, but this is actually something you might be interested in. Okay, so that's it. The next, I'll hand back to Marie. Jane? Okay.
Bump up the program.
Yep. Jane has to be held up.
Which means Cassie.
Cassie.
Come on down. Cassie, you're on. Do you need, what do you need, Matt? You need this? That's Simon's blog, by the way. I just had that up because that, if you want to read more, and all his presentations are on there. Why did that do that? Anyway, that's that. What do you need? If not, we can move up to somebody else.
Okay,
Yeah, it's all good. USB? Yeah, okay, do you need the clicker? Because I can just take the clicker and put it in there. Just pop it in there and I'll put it on the desktop. No, that's cool. Sort of set you downstairs without doing it. Put it on the desktop, put the clicker back because you need to stand there so you're on the film.
Cool.
Sorry. But you can stand. That's okay. Just talk amongst yourselves.
Just by the way,
Yeah.
is that
Very
Cassie's
cool.
at Cross High School, I'm at Morley High School, Marie's in the private system, so there's people from all over the place. Cassie's only second year full year, so it's good we've got some of the younger teachers coming and showing some of us older teachers what to do. So Cassie is going to talk about
Start.
infographics and Canva, which are programs to present information visually. So
So
Yeah.
we'll hand over to her.
okay, we'll just get her the clicker and make sure she's on candid camera.
Oh, yeah.
That's important. Okay, let's put this back here.
Oh, I really am on a camera.
So,
Ah,
by the way, I've got a graduate teacher from Morley in the audience who should be inspired for next year. He can present,
He can
but I
present
won't point
next
him out
year.
so he doesn't get to go. Okay, there you go.
Beautiful.
okay,
Okay.
there's the clicker.
Cool. Hi, guys.
Stand there so we can see everyone out there playing along at home can see you.
Cool. I'm going to chat to you all about a bunch of different visual ways to show information. Initially, I'm going to talk to you about infographics because I think they're pretty great. Does my clicker work? There we go. Yeah, so I'm going to talk to you about infographics, how you can use them, so how you can show them to your students, how your students can learn from them, how you can create them, and then also how you can actually hopefully getting your students out there creating them as well. So to start with, what is an actual infographic? An infographic is basically just a visual way of presenting information. It's a way of presenting information in a really nice, effective form. We've got an infographic here about infographics, for example, and you can see straight away it's clear, it's easy to read, you can get lots of information very, very quickly. Most of you have already seen infographics. You might not be using the terminology infographic, you might be using poster or something like that. I think they're a little bit more than just a poster. When you're making your infographic or when your students are making an infographic, you're talking to them about smart ways to present information. You're talking to them about picking what are the most important points, getting them out there. They don't just have to be in poster form. I'm going to talk to you about some other ways to present these. Gapminder, for example, if anyone's used Gapminder in geography, that's essentially another form of an infographic. Most of our research shows that kids do learn visually. We all know that, we're teachers, and this is just another way of getting them informed and using visual literacies other than just written literacies. Okay. I thought I'd start by just showing you some of the potential that we have with infographics. I'm high school, so I have grabbed all high school related. So for Ancient World, Year 7, I've got an infographic on pyramids. For my Year 8, I used this one when we did the Black Death and the Middle Ages. And that was quite good because it got them thinking outside just the Black Death. You've got it there in comparison to a bunch of other diseases from the time. World War I, the Battle of the Somme. I really like this. It's really nice. It's clear. It's simple. There's not too much on there. They can get a lot really, really quickly. This is a great one that I use with the Year 10s and I know is hanging at the moment in a Year 11 classroom as well. All about the Holocaust. And if there are any Year 11 people doing capitalism in America, this is quite a good one because we can see the links between, you know, US history and economics. There's a lot you can get from that. And finally, our big isms for any Year 11 and 12 teachers in the classroom. And I really like it's got the 3 different isms. You can quite clearly compare them in a bunch of different ways. Okay. Finally, they're not just posters. We're also talking about videos. If you haven't seen this and you teach Year 10, 11 or 12, find it. It was made just in May this year. This is a little bit off point, but I loved it. Made in May this year. It's a visualization someone's made where each little one of those figures represents 1,000 people who died in World War II. And then it compares it to all battles pretty much in history. It looks at the long piece. It's a really fantastic little visualization that's just popped up in the last month. All right, so I want to get you guys to go out and make some infographics. I don't want you to just use them. They're great. They're there. You can jump on Google and find a heap, but I think it's better if we're making some. And they're really, really easy. The program I'm going to show you is called Easily because it is easy. Brad here has actually made one for me all about the Dockers and whether or not you're a fan of the Dockers. So they're pretty easy. You can make them quickly. Sorry. When you're making an infographic, I've got a couple of rules for you. Stick to minimal colours. Most of the ones I've showed you have had a nice clear colour scheme. 3 is pretty good. Use graphs, use charts, put your numbers, your key information in bold. Use easy to read fonts, and go through this with your kids if they're making them as well. Have some images, but I think really stylized images work. You haven't really seen any photos on anything you've seen. It's been fairly stylized. And where possible, in some way, visually show your information, visually show your numbers. Don't just give me numbers. I'm going to show you some propaganda infographics that I made for our school to get our Year 10 studying humanities in Year 11 and 12. They are easy to make. That one's for history and economics and geography, and I would have been able to whip all of those up in a couple of hours using this program. And finally, a humanities one. All right, so let's talk easily, and hopefully you guys will go away and make something. It is free to register, which is awesome. So www.easel.ly. Jump on, it's free to use. Once you have registered, your formats are all actually there. If you want, you can of course totally clear it, start from a blank canvas. But you've got lots of stuff there. If you're getting your kids to do a brainstorm, for example, rather than getting them to draw a brainstorm, you can have them brainstorming on here. There's pre-made brainstorms. There's pre-made Venn diagrams on there. There's heaps and heaps of things that we're having kids do in the classroom, or we're making for kids that they could be doing online, and that's going to be a bit more fun. They're going to engage with it. Another form, just so we don't get too stuck on easily, Pictochart is another infographic maker. If you go online, there are heaps. These are the 2 that I've used or colleagues of mine have used, and we found are really simple. Most of the images, actually all the images are free, plus you can upload what you want. So just check out, try out a couple and see what works best for you. Yeah, both are really user-friendly. You're dragging images on. I think Pictograph, you can actually make your graphs in there as well, so that's particularly good. All right, before I wrap up, because I'm assuming I'm close to running out of time, I'm going to quickly talk to you guys about Canva as well, which seems to be relatively new on the scene, and I think isn't quite so great for making what I've just been talking to you about, but it's really fabulous as a teacher for making worksheets, making posters in the classroom. It's free to use, just like Haiku Deck though. You can pay $1 if you want to buy extra images or extra layouts. Most of the pre-made layouts are fantastic. You can import your own images and you can make heaps and heaps of stuff. So for example, this is a screenshot of me making a worksheet on King Arthur, where I was trying to trick my kids to thinking things were primary sources when they weren't. Pre-made pre-selected swords. Or 1 minute. Like I've done on my baby tapestry one. Or totally different. I downloaded a menu and I made my kids a learning menu, which activities they wanted to do based on a particular topic. So Canva, new one out there. I think it's really, really great. I probably should wrap up. Don't forget about Prezi. That's another really quick, easy tool to use, maybe as an alternative to Haiku Deck, but also you can create visuals really easily. And I'll wrap up there, I guess. Does anyone have any questions?
Did you say these were all iPad friendly?
Well, yeah, I've used most of these on iPads. I don't know if they've all got, I know Prezi's got an app.
Yep.
I think the others are actually just online, they're just websites.
Okay.
Yeah. And Canva's quite a cool one because it's actually made by a group of Aussies and it's new and yeah. And the kids like them, they're free. Kids can jump in once you introduce them. if they've got a poster
You have a
assignment, they
question on
can.
Twitter?
Oh, I have a question on Twitter.
Yeah. Where do you find those infographics you just displayed? They were awesome. Did you make them or find them?
My propaganda ones I made because we want kids to pick humanities. And most of the others I just found online. If you've got a topic, you type in World War II infographics and a heap come up. Cool. Easy. Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, so it's, Cassie's obviously put my next project, my next graduate at Morley under pressure after that presentation, for her being a graduate at Upper Cross. We're going to have a break now.
Yeah, we're running right on time.
Fine, yeah.
So we're 10-minute break. So, well, the next presenter.
Have a chat, tea and coffee.
Network.
Yeah.
It's all about meeting someone else, exchange emails, and yeah, Brett will have you when we get back.
Sorry, we forgot to say where the toilets were at the start. So, Ken, do you want to explain?
If you just walk through that room there, and then just turn that way. Left. Yeah.
Don't have to go all the way up to it.
Yeah. And then it's the same one that Brad did for the.
Oh, okay. So, all right, dear. Now, someone's before me, though.
Because Joan didn't show up.
Oh,
That's why we
I'm in.
We bumped
That's
Cassie.
scary.
I know, we bumped Cassie up and said your name in it. It's 5:30.
I've only got 2 minutes. Speed dating.
Yes. When it was white. I remember you, your face. You haven't changed a bit. I'm weird. Graduated in same thing. I went there and school, and I said, I know you. Where did you go? Where did you go? I'm student now
I feel up the beat.
Yeah, just like when you
I know, we've had so many.
Over 50.
I need to enroll already because it's free. Yeah, anyway, tell them about this. There's some on the table, but if they need more, David, it's the first time this has actually come out of the closet. These posters. Like, give everybody one of these and just tell them a bit about it. If you want me to open up the website while you're talking, that always works really well.
Yeah,
so then you can
that's
show
probably a
them
good
the categories and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to do that. Just give me a nice do that. But that's the second part, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, only Brad. Since I wait till I'm going to get it.
You know how to do it.
I know how to do it.
You know how to do it? I don't have problem with it,
Do we need to find
If you're watching this on YouTube, it's you probably need to wait about 20 minutes.
Leanne, no! You've got this yourself. This is amazing.
Work today, wear it every day. I love it. Oh, I love it. Oh, that's so exciting. I'm looking forward to doing selfie with you. Oh, God. All right. Okay, we might get started.
run along.
Tweeters take notes. Let's
Okay,
get on with
tweeters
this, shall
take
we?
notes.
Good.
Follow someone, no, put it back. Put it back to your username.
Oh, come on, we've
Okay, we connected on Twitter how many years ago in Sydney at a conference, and then in Melbourne at another conference, and then Brett went to Perth, and there you go. We put it up. This is a powerful thing. Okay, Brett is a primary teacher from Hillside College. Who the communication of the primary teachers here today? Fantastic. So what we'll need to do is have a primary history teach meet, and I've got your names now. So you might be getting an email to say come and present, because this is what it is. So Brett's going to talk about a project that we did last year. Take it away, for year 2.
So, I come over to WA, and over in Victoria, we hadn't touched the geography Aussie curriculum. So I'm rethinking about what's the geography all about. There's our Earth, our space, and there's space somewhere there, but it's special to me. It's even got my name on it, Gemelli, Lockyer Street. So I'm starting to get these connections about what geography is. It's something meaningful to kids. Lucky me, I ran into Marie, and she helps me, skills me up, both on the history and the geography last year. Now, when I was 4 years old, strangling Pussycat, so the history's coming into it straight away. But there's this driving question. Hey, Putty, what are we meant to be doing? We've got to develop a narrative about the past and use a range of forms. How are we going to fit that in, Bree? I don't know about you, but I think the children in my class and my experience of narrative just might be a little bit different. So I needed to dig a little bit deeper, and I still am. Okay, along comes Marie. She helps me out get on this really funky project where the National Trust puts on a competition, and children have to take a photo and write about a place that's special to them and that is worth keeping for the future. So off my kids go, and they take photos. Well, first of all, I took a photo to show them what to do. One guy, though, he takes a photo of his frangipani that's out there that his family decided they're going to keep while they're renovating it into a 2-storey bourgeois house. Another kid takes it off the Moreton Bay tree just around the corner from her that her brother and sister love to play on. Another one, he's our swamp monster. He loves to take photos. He never got to write about it. No worries. This is the winning entry, the photo of it. And Mum comes to me and says, I can't believe how good the photo talked out. It's just the contrast between that lovely blue bell tower and those shiny big fat orange bollards, I reckon. That's what does it. So then he writes, one scary night the tree said, I need to knock you down so I can spread my seeds. But just then a person said, stop, you can't just knock her down. You need to get some permission. Yeah, said who? The government said. Who is the government? The government who makes the rules. Oh, then on second thoughts. So there's his first draft. But every day, for about 3 weeks, I talked to him and just 5 other kids. That's all who was interested in this competition. And I kept asking the same questions every day, because grade 2, I can give them as much help with secretarial, but their ideas and their attachments are really driving these things. So here's the end product. One story night, scary night, a storm came up, the rain tumbled down, hail smashed into everything, wind whooshed through the trees, thunder rumbled, lightning flashed, the shiny glass of the bell tower shimmered in the flash. Hey, right, how would you rate that in your NAPLAN scoring, eh? Oh. A tree said, I will need to knock the bell tower down. It is too tall and it takes too much space. I will need to knock the bell tower down so the builders can build the Elizabeth Quay. You're depressed now, aren't you? The bell tower suddenly got angry. You quit it or I'll be after you. Who cares about an old tree? I'm shiny and artistically shaped. I make music with bells from the past. I'm special. I give oxygen. I give shade. I'm a home for birds and animals. I've been here a long, long time. I've seen things that have changed. Some things were nice and some things were not. We don't need a silly old bell tower. The builder said, you are both special. You should both be safe for everyone to enjoy. Oh, fine, I give up, I surrender. People need to see me. Just make sure I look good like the bell tower.
And they lived happily ever after, for now. I love reading that out. I know you could read the words off yourself, but I just couldn't resist it because that boy really put himself and his identity, his passion for a place, a photo that he took and made it into his narrative. Hey, it's a little bit once upon a timey, but that's what he was writing. Okay, along the way, within that 3 weeks though, I would be conferencing the children, but every day I'd write up there today's masterclass, also known as a guided writing group, hey, and invite other people to listen in with us. He had a really good mate called Callum, and Callum would help him. So when it came to the announcement of the prize, Callum said, I helped him write that story. It was a really great moment. So, hypnotising boys, getting kids into thinking that they are writers, I reckon we're doing a pretty good job. Okay, we had lots of getting information from photos. And here's a girl, she's writing a story about the park that she appreciates. She's actually putting it back into the past and imagining it when it was like at the beginning of English settlement. So we joined up with our geography studies and our history, focusing still on special places. We took excursions to Piney Lakes. We used a program called FODI to write controversial things to argue about in class. Imagine closing Piney Lakes where kids would be shattered. But the big display in the classroom was so well visited and mostly by the grandparents who would come and pick up and drop their children off. But we've got there so many drafts, usually 3 or 4 drafts of it, so they could see the process so that they would become aware of how writers get their stuff down. Off to the what's it called? The Aviation Museum. And then we like to dress up in our class. We research what airports were like in the past. We find some decent documents online. And then we stand up, we deliver what the airport of the future will look like. So this idea of what a narrative is really changed it. It's almost like for us, the teachers of young children, then imagining them being somebody different or in a different time and a different place. So there's Emily imagining that she's the boss of New Perth Airport. Okay, this is our latest thing though. We interviewed our grandparents and ourselves and worked out one of our favourite places where we like to swim. And we created a graph. Now the big graph in the classroom, of course, we've got the Hindi squares on here so they can see it. And I showed them then how they could very simply, one-to-one correspondence, hey mathematician, and just put it into a table on pages. So we make it and we make the graph of where we swim. Then I say to them, what would the graph look like 100 years ago? And this is what my little friend has worked out. Oh no, yes, this is 100 years in the future. Was that really the bell? They're using an app called Seesaw, which is we're using basically as a portfolio there. Jean Marie, thanks for the hand there. Way to go. Just loading.
I feel up the beach because they wouldn't really mind about the sharks and they would just want to have a little swim because there wasn't that much swimming places. And I half feel down because lots of people could fit in it. And the cover and the dam would be really cool. And I filled up the river because the people lived close to the river all the time.
I didn't know that. People lived close to the river in the olden days. Pretty funky discovery, all with the help of the graph. So our narrative has changed, and especially the tools that we use as historians and geographers. I'm pretty pleased how it turned out. Hey, you think I'm from Gamalli? I told everybody when I was at boarding school when I was 12 years old that I was from another planet, and they all believed me. Thank you for listening. They obviously all do too.
Okay, yeah. We're going to our deputy leader of our History Teachers Association, Kathy, the legendary teacher from Kelmscott, and she's going to talk about the National History Challenge, which, of course, this year has leadership and legacy.
Contestability.
Contestability. Sorry, I've got it the wrong way.
That's all right.
Contestability, year 11.
Year 2,
Yeah.
year 11.
Yeah, sorry, year 11. Sorry, she's going to talk again. This one's not good.
You can't actually stop me talking. That's probably part of the problem. So you'll need to wave at me when it gets close. Good evening. My name's Kathy Barron. I'm from Kelmscott, as Brad said, and I have the utmost pleasure of being the Vice President of the History Teachers Association of WA. Don't feel any pressure, but if you're not a member, you should join. And please do. And so the History Teachers Association of WA does lots of really cool things, and that's my little plug for the moment. I also have the utmost pleasure of being a history teacher. There is not a job better in the world than being a history teacher and teaching history. So those of you that teach primary school, that's wonderful because you get to teach history and you get the kids for even longer periods of time. We get them for 4 hours a week. You've got them for hours upon hours in which you can put history in there. We know that history fits in with the cross-curricular priorities, the general capabilities. It's fantastic for teaching literacy. But in a high school context, in particular, other than the narrative, it sells itself. It has a wonderful story. The two best things about history in a high school, and I guess in a primary school as well, is one, you get to use very, very cool, awesome big words. And so the kids think that they're really great because they can go through and use these big words and sound very intelligent. And you get to argue, something else teenage children you may have picked up like to do. So using big words and arguing, and that's what contestability is. Contestability is a big word where you get to argue. And so it's something that fits very, very nicely into our history curriculum. Contestability is about looking at the debate that exists, looking at the different points of view and the different perspectives. And it's a word that they've thrown into upper school, but it's a word that needs to go back to year 10, 9, 8, 7 and into primary school, because we want to get our kids thinking about how history has different perspectives and different points of view. Now, there are lots of really very, very cool ways that you can introduce contestability into your classroom and get the kids arguing. I guess one of the first things we get kids to do is question a source, whether it's a picture or an artefact. You give it to them, you say, what kind of questions come about? And you can do that in a classroom by putting the source in a group in the middle of the table and say, write down, brainstorm. You could do an infographic of all these different types of questions that arise. What's missing? What's there? Who made it? What do we know about the provenance of the source, the background to it? And so getting kids to sit there and go through and do that. We can also get kids to go through and we can give them a collection of sources, so extracts from text, photos, different bits and pieces, and get them and say, all right, I want you to shuffle those into different ideas, those that are for or against whatever it is that you're arguing, those that are supporting and those that oppose, and then you say why. And so it's getting kids to question, to play around, to not accept everything, which is a really big part of even what they watch on television. Number of kids I have come into me and go, oh my God, do you see that show on television? They know my views. Did you see that show on television that pretends that it's news? And I said, yes, and they'll tell me about what they've seen. But kids love that. They love the conspiracy theories. They love questioning things. So encouraging them to look at their sources and pull it apart and say, why do you think they did that? And how can we deal with that? I get kids to argue. And what I do is I'll put up a statement. I'll say, the Bolsheviks were always going to win and maintain their power in Russia. And then I'll say to a group,
you've got to agree and you've got to disagree. And they go off and they find their evidence. And kids love finding evidence because they love being those history detectives. They find their evidence and then I say, okay, we're going to have a structured argument. You're going to say your point, then you're going to tell them why they're wrong. And then you get them to argue across the room. And you have 17-year-olds who are very respectfully yelling at each other, but they're remembering it. And then you say, well, write down what you saw. Tell me, write down what could you go through. And we used to have groups that would come in at lunchtime to argue. And I would set them these things based on looking at, especially as they got higher in their understanding, I would say, well, is Pipes a better Russian historian than, say, Biggs? And why? And they would go off and they would find it and come in. So the thing about history is to get kids to argue. And the thing about contestability in sources is to say, what is the point of view? What can we tell from that source? And why is it a question? The contestability question in the waste paper at the moment, based on the samples that they put out, is going to be worth 3 marks. The first mark is identifying the area of contestability. So what is the argument that they're looking at? The second 2 marks will be saying why. So we need to be encouraging our kids to argue things and to go through and to question things. And I think that is actually a fantastic life skill, not to accept what they see, not to just think, right, well, it's come from a higher power, it therefore is right, but to go through and say, well, what's missing? What's missing from that photo? That's a great photo, but what didn't they take a photo of? What's missing from that photo? And getting them to think about their sources. How am I going for time? What I would also get kids to do is I would get kids to think about bringing their history alive by going through and making visual displays. Because as I said, visual displays work well. I did this for my year 11s with capitalism in the library. They had to create a photographic display, that word wasn't going to come out of my mouth, of things to do with capitalism. And they had to do from different points of view, things that support and things that oppose. And we were looking at, in particular, with the progressive era. And they found these sources and then they had to annotate the sources and pull them apart and go through. And then we stuck it up in the library and got people to go through and question and say, is that a good source or isn't it a good source? It was great advertising for our history. And we know as historians, it's all about the propaganda, but it's about getting kids to think about what they're doing, getting kids to go through questioning their source. Contestability is a big word. It's a scary sounding word. But as historians, it's something that we've been doing for a long, long time. Thank you. Any questions? Oh, God. I actually said to my daughter, oh, this thing today is going to be on Google Hangout. You could watch us. And as a 14-year-old, it would be really funny if you tripped over and then it could go through. I'm like, great. So I'm going to try really hard not to make that wish come true of Mum falling on her face. Thank you.
Those of you who are tweeting, fantastic job. Just don't forget to use the hashtag. Because after this event, what happens is I'll storyfy that, but just means collect all the tweets from today and I'll send it out in an email. So even if you're not on Twitter, you'll get a running commentary, a narrative of today's event. So that's how that works. Now, what isn't plugged in? How come you're not seeing that? Mr. IT? What's going on?
It's pretending we know what we're doing.
We are. How are we going so far? Why is that? You had us go? You actually got plugged into the wall? What's happening? Did it go to sleep? Did Kathy talk too long? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I think it went to sleep.
So we.
There it goes, yeah.
Oh, here we go. All right, so let's have a look at where we're up to now. Karen, I'd like to welcome Karen Taylor, who is representing Holy Cross College, come all the way from Ellenbrook. Yay.
And it's also very good, just while Karen's coming up, is that as far as the History Teachers Association goes, this is Karen's first year on the committee, and it's very good we've got getting more people in different sections. So as Kathy will talk in a minute about the History Teachers Association, but we represent a very important group of teachers.
So join.
And just while we're having this little ad break, there are some flyers on your table of a couple of PDs that are coming up. There's one primary called Stories of Place, and on the back of that you'll see another history teachers one that's about history skills and the history challenge. So there's a couple of more PDs coming up there. So yeah, it's all happening. Just get these ones and Karen.
If you look on the history teachers, we're just filling a bit of time. If you look on the history teachers website, you'll see that on August 29th, if you know anyone in the south west, there's a modern history
Make sure you're standing there because that's
seminar.
Oh,
Also,
okay.
that same day, Ted
Well,
Collins
well,
will be
actually, I should be
seminar
pressing
for
towards
people.
your face the slides. When you can stand here, then you'll get both.
So on October 24th,
That just flipped out.
Does
that make a difference?
And what else do we have?
Right.
August 27th at Warwick High School on this before paper. But they'll talk all about that in a moment.
Okay, there we go.
All right, thank
Got
you.
the light up.
Oh, okay. I'll use my teacher voice.
Oh, sorry.
We do actually have people watching live this, so we've got to move that around.
Okay, so good afternoon or almost evening. My name's Karen Taylor and I'm the Learning Area Coordinator of Humanities at Holy Cross College in Ellenbrook. We're quite a young school still. I also wear a second hat at the college. I'm part of our Learning Innovation team, and that my particular role is I lead the Year 9s in terms of their learning innovation. And I lead our cross-curricular program called Big Ideas, which runs in Year 7, 8 and 9. So I just want to share with you this evening a project that we've actually just completed with our Year 9s, which was designed to give them a cross-curricular approach to connecting with the Anzac Centenary, obviously 2015 being the centenary year. So I'd just like to walk you through that project and share with you some of the students' experiences and successes in the project. No, we're not moving. There we are. Okay. So the project was designed, and all of our Big Ideas projects are always designed around a big picture thinking question. So for this project, the students engaged with the big question, what is the Great War of the 21st century? And that guided their progress through the whole project. It was also introduced to connect them with all of their learning areas, particularly the key learning areas. And we designed the project around feeding back into, and in fact we achieved assessment material to feed back into the humanities, obviously, both history and geography, science, some mathematics through some infographics that they did, and also English as well was quite prominent. So what did they actually do? We launched the project, probably don't need that slide now, with a visit to the WA Army Museum in Fremantle. That's a long trip for our guys coming all the way from Ellenbrook. And the purpose of taking them through the museum was to immerse them in the idea of, obviously, the Great War and the nature of trench warfare. So where the young Anzacs of 100 years ago actually fought, the nature of that warfare, and also where the Anzacs and certainly Australians have fought in the years since. It gave them an opportunity to think about the nature of that warfare and also to start to build the bigger picture that ran, or the bigger theme that underpinned the project, which was all about being in the army and going into battle. We explicitly introduced them to the values of the Australian Army. So these were courage, initiative, respect and teamwork. And we challenged them to develop those in themselves as they moved through the project. The other thing that we did as well was once we came back in the following week, where we had Big Ideas again, we had Big Ideas once a week, incidentally. In Year 9, they have 3 periods on a Thursday afternoon. So the following week, we took them through a bunch of innovative learning stations. And through those learning stations, we introduced them to a wide range of issues that could be dubbed the Great Wars of now. So they moved forward 100 years. And we said, okay, what are the major issues facing humanity? What are the big
issues that we need to address now. So they looked at a whole wide range of things: climate change, poverty, the war on food and water security, obesity. They looked at all sorts of issues, and we engaged them through a whole bunch of ways. They looked at websites. We had QR codes taking them to different places. We had online quizzes they could engage with. There were some science experiments set up that they engaged with. It was quite manic, really, but they had lots and lots of things that they could actually do. And then from there, we actually formed the students into our own little army corps who were looked after by a particular teacher. And within those, they formed their own little platoons. So a platoon was 3 or 4 students who had a common idea about what they thought the Great War was and that they wanted to explore further and actually do something about. Once they had their platoons, we actually did some research and collected a bunch of names of real Anzacs, and a lot of them were from our local area as far as possible, and we assigned them an Anzac, and it was in their memory and dedicated to that Anzac that they were then going to go into battle over their Great War. So the opportunities, essentially how we then shaped the project, we're a very digital school and we use technology to support learning wherever we can. It took this shape of challenge-based learning. Some of you might be familiar with that concept. It's essentially inquiry learning and promoting independence and students really developing their own project and taking it into the direction they want to. We developed an iTunes U course. We're an Apple school, so we use that technology, and that just helped to guide them through the process. It gave them a sense of independence because they could see the steps they would need to take, make choices within those steps. It was all in one place. So that was really quite useful for us. And the other thing that they did and we used technology for was all of the little platoons kept a collaborative blog using EduBlogs. And so they could actually post to those every week. They reflected on their learning. They reflected on what they were finding interesting, what they were finding challenging, how their teams were working together. And then they moved in the direction of finding a solution. If you're familiar with challenge-based learning, that's kind of the point. It's about learning, inquiring, engaging with a topic, but then doing something about it. So in the final phase of the project then, the whole idea was that through inquiry and understanding their Great War, the issue that they took on and wanted to do something about, was they then had to take action and make some sort of a difference at some level. And what we tried to impose on them was the whole idea that it was a real world opportunity for them to live the Anzac spirit, to think about, well, what are the qualities we associate with the Anzacs and how can they, as young Australians of today, actually display those qualities themselves and stand up and try to make a difference for something that they believe in. So it gave them some real world learning and certainly an authentic audience. Just in terms of what did they come up with then, what were some of their solutions? Well, they were challenged with the idea that they actually, as a small group of generally 3 or 4 students, had to actually get out there in the community and do something about it. And they did that in a whole bunch of different ways. I'll just go back, actually, some of the photos of what they're actually doing were there. Some of them used technology to actually have a very global audience. So some of them produce their own websites and they are actually being followed by people in other parts of the world. Some of them began Twitter feeds to raise awareness of the issue. And again, they have followers from all around the world. Others were much, much more local. So some of them came up with initiatives to do better fundraising things in the future in our own college. And some of them engaged our junior school. We're a K-12 school. And actually did some fun things over there to teach much younger children. One of the last things that is still in the waiting in the wings, really, we need to finalise is we have a few of them who have produced their own iBooks, and we're in the process of getting those published to the iBook store. So that will be a first actually for our college and something that we're very excited about. So by the end of the project, a lot of the students have fed back the idea that they just have a deeper understanding, certainly of the Anzac spirit, and the whole idea that ultimately 100 years ago, freedom and opportunity was one for them. And now as young people, they've got the chance to make a difference in their world. And we're really quite proud of our project. So thank you very much.
Another time you might need to tell us about.
We have a slight highlight coming in, or not a slight highlight, a very big highlight. We've got Kathy's going to talk about the National History Challenge. We've also got Crystal is going to add to it.
What I might do is I might get Crystal to come up first because you just listened to me. Crystal is part of our super awesome, amazing staff at Kelmscott Senior High School. And so she was very nice when I slightly coerced her and said, come and tell about this fantastic idea that you had. So Crystal, I'll pass over to her and then when she's finished, I'll talk about
And I'm going to open up the website that's connected to the National History Challenge. So also on your page, on your tables, you've got the latest details. But yeah, here we go. Over to Crystal.
Hello. When they said a room full of people, I didn't think the room would be this full. So if my face starts to go a bit red. I have a shoebox. My mum's shoebox. I don't wear these shoes, but that's okay. It serves a purpose. We had a meeting of all of our Year 7 teachers the other day. I'm in a little bit of an advantage because the school I was at before Kelmscott, I've had Year 7s in my classroom in a high school for 3 years now. And they're lovely. They're a little clingy, but they're lovely. Trying to think of some really interactive and really hands-on activities for our Year 7s. One of our other staff members is actually a qualified archaeologist. So having a bit of a chat amongst us, we came up with the idea of shoebox history. And part of what I'm going to talk about today is making that relevant for little primary kids, your middle kids, and then your upper kids. So Kathy pointed out that in lower primary, so in your early childhood, your 1s and your 2s, I think, the history is about them and their family and where they come from. So one of the things that we spoke about was actually getting each child to take a shoebox, take it home, and fill it with things that represent them and their history, and then bringing it in and doing, I suppose, a news. I've never taught littlies, but I have nieces and nephews. They love talking about themselves. So in lower primary, you could use it as the kids would have an activity and they would basically create their own history in a shoebox. I was going to fill this with sand and pass it around because, you know, there's quite a bit of space in there. But the logistics of passing a box full of sand around all you guys is a bad idea. In terms of archaeology, with our 7s, we're starting the ancient world with them soon. Setting up an archaeological site for them. So literally filling the box with sand and super gluing things to it. Giving them a paintbrush or giving them some kind of tool and saying, here's a box full of sand, there's things buried in it, find out what's in it. And as you go, tell me what you think it is. And when you've found all of the things that are buried in your shoebox, what do you think we're going to be learning about? What do you think about that particular culture in society? Where do you think it's going? And letting them be their own archaeologists and letting them explore. And it's a really hands-on thing. Littlies love hands-on things. For the bigger kids, something that Kathy and I spoke about was an ideology box. So if they're doing capitalism, if they're doing Russia, if they're doing Nazi Germany, you can use it for any context. Putting a whole bunch of things in the box, giving it to the kids and saying, right, what ideology is this connected to and why do you think that? And I suppose that brings in a little bit of contestability in their arguments in terms of saying to them, why do you think that particular object represents that particular ideology? So I suppose after having a meeting with some colleagues about Year 7, I sort of started to think about all of the amazing things that you can do with this one little piece of cardboard. So I hope that gives everyone some things to take away with them, whether you're little primary, middle primary, little high school or big high school. You can either make something and create something to give to your students, or you can give them an empty box and say, now you go and create something and you show us your own history or what you think about something. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Crystal. I'm very lucky we have amazing people. I'm not bragging again. Now, I said before, teenagers and kids in general, like big words because they like to sound intelligent, like they know what they're talking about, and they like arguing. One other thing that kids like is money. Now, the National History Challenge, and I won't spend too much time because we'll run out of time. The National History Challenge is Australia's #1 history competition. It's open from primary right through to secondary. They're competing against people in their own age groups. There's lots of different categories. And Marie, if maybe you could click. Sorry, over there. There's the reason I teach history, not IT. You can go to this site and find out. There's lots of different categories. You can make it fit, and we do lots of things about making it at my school, about the competition and about research and all of that kind of stuff, which I will tell you later when you attend as members of the History Teachers Association. When we're running a PD, which we will talk about how to do the historical inquiry related to National History Challenge. But the National History Challenge is a yearly competition. It's open from primary through to year 12. Your students can win money. They can win up to $200 for each category. There's museum displays, there's essays, there's kids, we've had kids do iPad-y type displays, we've had kids, the primary school kids do the most amazing museum displays, and some of the things you see are just awesome. Yep. If you're a high school teacher, my best year 11 writers this year are the kids who've been doing this because they learn to write and they learn to write well. So it's good in that perspective, and it's a wonderful competition. They have we have a ceremony in October for the winners in Perth, and then the national winners get sent over to Canberra, all expense paid trip, and there's some really very, very good opportunities. But it's a great teaching experience. It's a great way to teach that inquiry process, and it's one of those like rich, real tasks.
The other formats include multimedia, and that's been getting more and more popular. Infographics. You can make a website, whatever.
That's it. We've had kids make websites. We've had kids do blogs. There's lots of different ideas, and we will be going through at that PD and talking about lots of the different things. So I won't take up the time today. The theme for this year is leadership and legacy, and I'm still this one. Take one of these, have a look. If you are doing it and you've done it before, there's new categories. If you haven't done it before, that's okay. You don't know that they're new categories. But there are some new categories in there to have a look. It's a great way to teach your kids how to do fantastic historical inquiry. They have lots and lots of fun. They can pick anything. And that's what we say to our kids. Pick something that you love and go and research it. And so you get all sorts of things that you can possibly do. It's well worth having a look at. How am I going time-wise?
These are the categories, and in each of those categories there's a prize. So these are our sponsors. So they give them, we've got prize money. So as long as it matches the theme, it has to make sure that this year it's leadership and legacy. So right across the curriculum from, year 2 right up to year, 10 or 11, 12, there is some point of leadership and legacy in all those topics.
Yep. Do you do this in class or separate? What we do at Kelmscott is we tell our gate and kept kids that they have no choice. It's an in-class assessment and they have to do it. We're doing that with the year 7s this year as well. We're making it an assessment piece. They get a little bit of in-class time and they get some out-of-class time. We run master classes, so the kids come in after school, those that want to, and we get a lot coming in for that. It's up to you how you integrate it and decide you want to do it. Yeah. We use it as an assessment piece because they're putting lots of work in and they're going through, and the standard is often a lot better than what if you just give them a sheet and an inquiry. But yeah, it would be up to how you decide you want to do it.
And you get a marking key. It's all here. It's all on the website. So it's actually it's all set up for you.
We've got lots of formats coming out, like guidelines at the inquiry day.
So for the marked side, so then could we
topic? Do you choose the topic that they have to do?
Well, it depends. I know some schools do that, so they'll say year 7s have to do ancient, year 8 have to do medieval. We keep it open, and then what I say is we're marking it against the skills that they're demonstrating, so that they're reflecting the skills of a year 8 student, and then so the content's a little bit different, but it's those skills, and the kids are engaging with that. Because I think if they're learning and loving their history, then that's the ultimate prize. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yep.
Just a comment on that to kind of cover that. I have the year 7 class at Kelmscott, and what I've said to them is they will have content assessments, so we're doing the ancient world, and then this is going to be their skills. So I've let it out to them and said, if you can pick anyone that you like, I said, I had a kid say, oh, I want to do Cleopatra, that fits really well. Yep, that's me, you can do Cleopatra. And other kids have come up with some obscure person that I haven't heard of. So I said to them that basically what we're assessing here is your research skills and your understanding skills and your inquiry skills. So if you kind of separate it and explain to them that even though you're doing one particular topic in class, they will have assessments for that topic content, timelines or any sort of other assessment that you want. And then this is their inquiry process. And that way, if they really want to pick something that they like, and if they pick something they like and they pick something that they love, they will go out and put so much.
We get amazing things come in, and kids see, you know, it's amazing what you see. They used to have sort of museum displays and prizes in that in high school. Now it stops at 8. You can still enter that way, but there's no prize. But our year 9s love doing museum displays, and they would put this amazing amount of work into these. But the research was there, and their references were annotated, and they went, you know, so it had the depth, but the effort they went through, and the little stories. We had this boy who did this big Robin Hood box thing, and it was electronic, and the lights glowed, and all of this kind of stuff. And what was wonderful about that was he said, oh, my dad was telling me about how to do this, and his dad didn't do it, but he spent time with his dad, and that was nice as well. And I think ultimately that makes it a win. But leadership can be a family leader, so it can fit into that way with the primary school or a West Australian leader if you're looking at, say, you know, grade 5. But it's due soon, like August. You've got a bit of time.
21st of August.
But come along on the 21st. What the last? 13. You come on the 21st if you want, but there probably won't be anyone there.
Okay. Anything else? Right. Our next presentation is Brad. The rest of the committee. There are other members of the committee here as well tonight. If you wanted to chat to them. We've got Rosinda taking photos there. She's on the committee. So, do you need to see? Do you want the website?
Yeah, no.
What do you need? Oh, you want to put that in? Yeah. Don't need to
just,
you don't need to
I don't need to click that, but I just,
do that after that.
yeah, just can you just put it off for a second? Can we just,
leave the website?
no, just pull that out. So,
You right?
qualifying. Yeah. I shared it on Yeah.
I can talk for a long while about the History Teachers Association of West Australia. History Teachers Association of West Australia, and Brad will talk a lot more about that. We're not just high school teachers, there's also a primary school on our committee, but we are always looking for more primary school people, and the more primary school people, then the more focused what we offer to primary schools. You know, we can do that better, and then you can reflect their needs. So excellent committee, lots of fun. It's worthwhile thinking about joining. If you are interested, let one of us know. Come along to the AGM. We won't make you join if you come along to the AGM. We actually do something